We've all heard of yoga and the amazing health benefits it has for our bodies, but have you ever heard of facial yoga? I'm Lauren Keating with Preferred Health Magazine, and we're here at Modrn Sanctuary to find out more about facial yoga and Gua Sha.
My name is Alexandra Ginelli, and I am the founder here at Modrn Sanctuary.
I'm Julia Gellinella, and I'm an esthetician here at Modrn Sanctuary.
Okay, so to get us started, how would you describe facial yoga and what are the main health benefits of it?
Sure. You want to start?
Yes, so facial yoga is a series of exercises for the face and neck to help strengthen, tone, and lift the facial muscles.
Yeah, and I think face yoga, it's really interesting because it is very similar to yoga that you do with your body, and it's really about doing it to your face muscles. We tend to forget that we have muscles in our face that also can be held in long poses and stretched and used to help keep the lift in our face as we age.
So when we're thinking about the health benefits then, I know a lot of people kind of compare it to like a natural facelift. What are we really working on? Is it removing fine lines and wrinkles, smile lines? Can you kind of get into like the collagen, the anti-wrinkling, and the anti-aging aspects?
Sure.
So we are working on increasing circulation and blood flow, encouraging lymphatic drainage, and helping to release tension in the muscles to help prevent wrinkles.
Face yoga, when you're doing it, whether it's with Gua Sha or muscle stretching, there's two different ways that you can use the Gua Sha tool as well. One would be to really help with lymphatic drainage, which is very gentle movements with the Gua Sha sweeping because the lymph is just below the surface. And then you can also do much more manipulation of the muscle work with it as well, which is going to help with relaxing the muscles in our face, because the more that we tense those muscles for long term, that's where you're getting those deeper seated wrinkles in the face and as well. And that's what we want to help counteract, is the more you can relax them, the less that you're going to get those deep seated wrinkles.
It's really interesting that, that it's deeper than you really think. Just quickly, for those who are not aware of what Gua Sha is, how do you explain Gua Sha, the tool?
So Gua Sha is a crystal tool, and what we're doing is we are targeting the areas of the skin where our lymph nodes are, just to encourage lymphatic drainage, flush out toxins, and help to decrease puffiness.
Yeah, so Gua Sha tools, they come in lots of different shapes. You've probably seen the rollers. The one that we're gonna use today is sort of a more oblong shape. It's got different angles and sides. They come in metal, they come in bamboo, they come in wood, they come in crystal, they come in all sorts of plastic. You can even get them in, and they're really wonderful. They go way, way back in time. I can't tell you exactly the whole history of the Gua Sha tool. I should know them, but they're really wonderful because they help contour, and they do every different angle. I think a lot of people don't realize you can use them different ways.
Do you need the tool? Because I've heard a lot of people who are like, all you need is your hands and some oil. Like, is the tool necessary, or it just helps you get further deeper into the muscles?
I think it helps accelerate, but I think you can use your fingers, in a series of movements, and you can decrease puffiness that way as well.
Yeah. For me, I actually really like using a Gua Sha tool. I mean, your hands are great. Let's face it, if that's all you have, that's awesome, because there's so many ways you can use a knuckle, the palm of your hand. So many ways that you can mimic a Gua Sha, but it's so nice to just have the tool to hold, and have that edge and flat surface that you can work with too.
When we're talking about lymphatic drainage, how important is that? I know you mentioned that it's all about releasing the toxins and really opening up your lymph nodes. Can you talk a little bit about how that plays a role there?
Yeah. Lymph is my world.
The center of it all, yeah.
Yeah. So your lymphatic system, a lot of people don't recognize how important it is in your body. Your lymphatic system, call it the garbage man of your body. It works in tandem with your circulatory system. So the only difference is that your lymphatic doesn't have a pump. And so your heart, while it's pushing all the blood through your body, your lymph does not, your lymphatic system does not. So it requires movement all the time, right? From the muscles. So if you're sedentary a lot, or you're eating a poor diet, or you've eaten too much salty food, or you went out drinking the night before, it's not working in its optimum way to help balance fluid. So you might notice after a long airplane ride, right? Your face feels puffy, or you're swollen in the legs, or maybe you've eaten really salty food, right? You feel bloated. or a night after drinking, we all know our face looks different. And so what your lymph is doing, it's helping, you notice your lymph glands when you're sick, right? It's like, oh, my nodes are large. And so that's doing the filtering. But if we're sluggish, it's not doing that optimally. And so we're going to open up the nodes to really get them so that, think of them like sponges. So we can empty out those sponges to move the lymph to be cleansed and cleaned. That way it's sort of like everything's flowing much more nicely over the next couple days. So what you'll notice when we do Gua Sha and lymphatic drainage is, you'll notice some like reduction in the puff right away, but then over the next couple days, you'll see even better, especially when you're working on body lymphatic drainage too.
So if you can just point real quickly, like where are we looking when we're trying to drain the lymph nodes? Is it just like here in the neck? Is there places like in the back of your head?
You have a collection. So your body is made up of 3 different things, right? You have the lymph nodes, which are where the huge collection of where they filter. You have the vessels, which are think of it as like the tubing that connects all the nodes.
Right.
And then you have the lymph, which is the fluid that runs through all that. You have collections of the nodes in the neck, an armpit. Everything drains actually into the chest area, back into the circulatory system. So typically you're going to work opening up the neck, opening up the chest. We'll start with like pumping, and then everything will be moved down into that area.
That's so fascinating to me, like how the body works and like how it all just relates into your skin. And like I don't think a lot of people think that. They think just like let's slap on a whole bunch of product on your face, but not really looking what's going on internally.
Yeah, and a lot of people will do Gua Sha or lymphatic drainage really hard. I know there's a misconception completely when people come into the spa thinking, even if you're coming for a body treatment, that it's going to be painful. They're like, the harder the better. And you're like, actually your lymph is just below the skin. It's more like a sweeping motion when you're doing it on the body. It's not deep muscle work. So.
I'm glad that you brought up that point because I know we were talking a little bit before off camera about how there maybe people who are trying it for the first time might be doing it incorrectly, and the importance of coming into an establishment first to kind of learn what you're doing and then the upkeep at home. So you're saying that it's very gentle. Is there any other tips that you can give people if they're trying that at home to keep up with the regimen?
Sure. You want to start?
Yeah, I would say the pressure is a main thing, and then a nice oil, a non-pore clogging oil like argan oil, rosehip oil, and just relaxing and taking your time and being consistent with it would be.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's important to remember too, because there's like facial contouring and then there's lymphatic drainage, and they're very different because if you think about like the buccal massage on the muscles, and you're working these muscles, the masseter, you're going to be moving that. That's not lymphatic drainage. That is more muscle work and massage. So again, like that's different than the gentle sweeping to get the fluid and the puff out. And they're both fine. It's just knowing what you're doing and when you're doing it.
Yeah, that's huge too. Because even for me, I do a lot at home. I was telling you, I don't really keep that clear line. Like, okay, this is what I'm doing. Like, what are my end goals? So that's important too, so that you can make sure you're not causing more harm. Now, if you have the incorrect pressure or you're doing a poor technique, what are some of like the effects that you can see? Will it cause more wrinkles? Will you be more puffy? If you could talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to start? Sorry.
Yeah. You can see, why don't you go ahead?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, nothing's gonna, in terms of the lymphatic drainage portion, you're not gonna get any side effects of like breakout or anything, but you might have redness. You probably won't get as good of a drainage if you're doing it super hard. But again, if you're doing it harder, you're moving probably more into muscle stuff. And like muscle relaxation is not a bad thing. But one thing to worry about is if you are doing it too hard and you don't have a slick surface, you're pulling at the skin, and the skin on the face is much thinner, right? And so we don't want to do damage. And like we all know, when you pull on the skin, you're stretching it. And the more you stretch it, the looser it becomes. And therefore, you're not going to get the benefits of like the collagen production. You're doing more damage in that way.
And then to piggyback off of that point, is there anyone that this is not safe for? Say if you're nursing, if you're pregnant, anybody can benefit from this practice, or?
Yeah, the only thing with lymphatic drainage, I would say if you have an active infection, right? Like, so if you have a sinus infection, I know everyone's like, oh, it's so good to do lymphatic drainage. Wait till the infection has like mostly cleared and then do the drainage, because you don't want to like interrupt the processing of the virus or the bacteria that's already going on. Let your body do its work. And then I would say if you're an active cancer patient, we always err on the side of caution to say, just wait. You don't want the cancer to spread, stuff like that too.
Great.
Otherwise, it's pretty safe. Again, if you're pregnant, talk to your doctor always.
How important, or how, if so, does like diet, stress, and external factors then affect what's going on with our skin, the elasticity, and how does this then help?
Yeah, so it definitely plays a big role. Stress can increase your cortisol production and your muscle tension, which can just lead to dull skin and fine lines over time. And then for diet, you want to make sure that you're keeping your body hydrated. Water and water-rich foods are really going to help keep your skin glowing and delay the aging process.
Yeah. I would say just in general, there's so many things that affect our skin, from pollutants in the air to the food we eat to, you know, also each of our own sensitivities. A lot of people are very sensitive to dairy, for example. And I know when you work with we're certainly not nutritionists, but some people will notice when they cut out dairy that their acne maybe clears up a lot. So it's always important to like, just everybody and every body is different. So some people will notice the foods that they eat can be like taken out and improve their skin. Other people, it's, you know, just leafy greens and all that good omegas, and hydration is always key, because we all know when we're dehydrated how different it feels. Especially when you're doing lymphatic drainage, the more hydration is just going to help flush everything too.
How often should people come in for a lymphatic drainage or do at home?
I would say 3 to 5 times a week. Like, again, if you came in once for like a good esthetician like treatment, every 2 weeks for a facial, maybe once a week for face yoga, and you're keeping everything up between then, like, you're in pretty good shape. Yeah. I mean, I know that's certainly not realistic for everybody, but you could do face yoga every day, gently, if you wanted to.
It's exciting. Yeah. I'm all for it. I'll like sit in front of the TV and I'm out there with my tool and I'm like, this is so relaxing.
Yeah, and I think with lymphatic too, I mean, again, you're optimizing the system. Every little bit can help. You want to make sure you're drinking enough fluid with it. So. And
when someone comes in here for a treatment, how long would that last? Is it like a 30-minute, 20-minute?
Oh, the treatment itself?
Yeah.
It's a half an hour treatment. Yeah. And you can add it on with a facial if you wanted to as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much, ladies.
Yeah.
Excellent job.